Who in their right mind hits 500 balls in a row as a practice regime? That is arguably the hardest thing I have ever done. How are you doing? Welcome back to a brand new video. Simon down here at Burford Golf Lab, and today we are going to hit 500 shots in a row with this bladed P730. And why, you might ask? Number one, I've never done it before. I've always had a rumour of like Vijay Singh and other tour pros hitting 500 golf balls a day. I want to give it a test. I want to see how difficult it is, what it does to your swing, what it does to the golf ball. I'm going to use a brand new Pro V1X, and as I said, I'm going to use this. So how much is the ball going to get cut up? Just hitting indoors, so no variables, so not in the bunker, not off the tree, car path, all the good places that I normally hit it. Well, normally I don't hit 500 shots. Normally I'm lucky to get a round out of it, and that's going to be 40 shots, because the majority of it's going to be putting and chipping, as my game is pretty awful in that area. And yeah, basically see what it does to my swing, see how tired I get. Obviously I want to do long drive next year, so this is a good opportunity to work on my endurance, trying to improve my explosiveness, especially when I'm tired, especially getting to that later rounds, or you're traveling or whatever, you're going to feel tired. Can I still perform? And yeah, that's basically the video, guys. If you like this idea, then leave some suggestions below, whether I change ball or do it with a different club, or maybe the amount. Maybe I'll go for 1,000 shots in a row. I don't know if that would ever be feasible. And if we get this video up to 500 likes, to do that, if you get up to 500 likes, I'd definitely do 1,000. But yeah, anyway, that's probably a lot of talking. Probably should get to hitting some golf balls. Yeah, let's go. Okay, ball speed around the 1, 2, 3 mark. Imagine that's going to go down potentially as my swing, like I get more tired, but I didn't go after them, so hopefully that stays level. And spin rate, ball speed, and then 170, 181 yards.
Okay, so the first 100, obviously there's not much to note, as your average golfer probably hits 100 balls at the driving range anyway. I was doing it all right, to be fair. At this point, I was still thinking about like swing thoughts, what am I trying to work on. I had a lot of energy, I was quite positive. You can see just general posture and everything else looks half decent, even though this is a time lapse. And then I kept on checking whether any difference to the ball. And again, the ball pretty much at this point looked virtually brand new, not even touched. And I was trying to guess how many shots I had taken, so I kept counting on the screen.
Okay, first 100 done. I'm going to show you the numbers quickly to see where we're at. This pretty much looks all intact. A few scuffs here and there, but not much to really talk about. And yeah, let me just show you the numbers of the first 100 hits. It's going to be a long afternoon. Okay, just so that I prove that I've done 100 anyway. There is the first 100. And the numbers, 167 down the bottom here. 176 in total in terms of average. Spin rate around 7,000 mark. Don't get me wrong, these weren't all perfect shots. And ball speeds at 122 and 90 on the average. And looking at the start, 123 and 90 on the average at the start as well. So pretty similar. Obviously 5 half decent shots at the start, some pretty awful ones throughout the 100, but they've averaged about all right. Spin rate was slightly lower. And yeah, right, the second 200. Okay, the second 100 shots. Wish me luck. Let's go.
So second 100 still felt pretty good in terms of swing wise, but I was still getting some bad shots. But I couldn't put that down to anything. I think I had some bad ones, I had some good ones. Again, still working on swing thoughts, trying to work on my swing in terms of what Lee Cox told me, and just basically giving it all. I don't think there was any difference in club head speed, ball speed, and again, general ball like endurance, it still looked pretty much brand new. Right guys, we are 200 shots in and we're starting to see a bit of wear and tear, but hardly anything, to be perfectly honest. I don't know if my camera can focus quite as closely as I want it to on the ball, but I mean, it definitely looks like it's been hit now from my eyes, and it's slightly shredded in certain places around the ball. But I imagine over the next probably 100 or 200 hits, we'll probably see quite a bit of a difference now, as there's a few blemishes and you can see a few dents and marks and indentations around the golf ball now, but definitely still playable 100%, and I am absolutely knackered. Okay guys, so here is the other 200 shots just to show you, and fatigue is starting to kick in. All of a sudden our clubhead speed and ball speed are now dropped 88 and 119, and then total distance, I can't even speak, 163, 172. Right, another 100. Third 100. This was the best I hit it out of all the hundreds. Don't ask me why. I felt fatigued. My glutes were hurting. My hamstrings were hurting. My back started getting sore. I started getting blisters on my hands at this point. But I think just the idea of I was hardly even thinking about it. And all I was worried about was hitting the middle, because if I didn't hit the middle, it started hurting my hands, because it's not a forgiving iron and the blisters and everything else. So I actually hit this probably the best out of all of them, even though it wasn't the fastest. Okay, we're 300 shots in. It's safe to say that I am dying up my arse, legs, back. It's feeling it, but this little white ball is not. Let me show you what it looks like. Let me show you the numbers. Depressingly, it's actually looking better than it was 100 shots ago. How is that possible? In terms of numbers and everything else, I mean, they haven't really changed. I mean, I thought it would be a lot more shredded by now. Obviously, I don't keep count of all the balls in here, but obviously I swear normally they disintegrate a lot more. I am just using an iron, and maybe that is why. But yeah, it's still pretty much intact. All the numbers are pretty much the same. I mean, my swing is definitely deteriorating and obviously getting slower. Again, just proof. There's our first 100. There's our second 100. There's our third 100. Fancy green. Let's go green this time. This is the hardest set, mainly because I knew I still had 100 after this. My hands were killing me at this point, and I felt just so weak in the lower part of the body. The lower part of the body is so key in golf. I can see my legs just basically on fire, just hurting so much. And it goes to show that if you're going to work on anything in the gym, it should be legs, because I was swaying, I was sliding, my clubhead speed reduced heavily now. Off-centre hits were heavy, which meant my hands hurt even more, which means I didn't even want to hit it that hard, just because just in general I was in pain at this point. Right guys, that is another 100 done. That was the toughest one yet, obviously, because it's going to get tougher, but my arse is on fire. Didn't think I'd ever say that in one of these videos. And I'm just swaying and sliding all over the place. It's so difficult to even concentrate. I feel drunk. I feel like it's just so difficult to concentrate on what I'm doing. I keep drinking loads of water, but I feel really dehydrated. Just everything's gone, and this is good and bad. This is probably what I'd feel towards the end of like a 36-hole tournament. Just shattered, gone. All swing thoughts, any like things that I would be working on, trying to focus on, are completely out the window. I'm just basically just hitting it, trying to find the middle. That's all my focus is on, is just trying to find the middle of the club face, which is tough. I've shanked like 4 in that set. So yeah, this is going to be tough. Like the last 100 is going to be it's going to be really enjoyable. So let me show you the ball. The grip's starting to wear on the club as well now, so that shows how much I grip it. I've got blisters on my right hand, which is also really nice. And I don't know where my train of thought's now going. Right, let's go. Me and the Pro V1 are starting to go on the same wavelength now. You can see the paint starting to wear, starting a bit more like losing that glossy finish, I'd say. Looking at the numbers, if I actually hit one pretty decently, I don't think it would actually make that much difference, but I think when it gets to this stage, that's probably when it starts cutting up more. It's definitely lost that glossy feel. Now it was out of the packet. I'll try and get another Pro V1 to compare it next to it at the end. But another 100 shots, let's go. Interestingly, ball speeds dropped massively, club head speeds dropped massively, yet spin rate's still the same. So
saying that, I mean, it's still pretty decent for like a 7-iron ball speed and like clubhead speed, so that's probably still right for a Pro V, but yeah, that's interesting, but we've lost a lot of speed. Anyway, last set.
This is probably the funniest one. I'm looking back on the footage now and I just look so down and out. It's like you're in a 30 grand simulator hitting golf balls, get over yourself. But at the time I just couldn't be bothered. This was so difficult. I've never hit this many balls in such a short period of time. And to be perfectly honest, I just didn't really care on hitting the ball. As I said, it just hurt so much to even hit the ball. If I hit out the middle, it was good. Obviously I didn't get any feedback, but if I hit out the toe of the hill, it just caned. And again, legs and everything on fire. Not only that, I was literally just about to cry because this actually, like the simulator software, slightly crashed, which you'll see in a second. This is a live update, or live reaction, I should say, of me when this happened. I was like, what's going on? And all the data was lost from the last 450 shots. So I stood there for about 10 minutes just staring at this screen, just buffering. So I had to reset the computer, and I hit another 50 shots just to make sure I got it in, and then I hit my last 5 shots of this session just to get an idea of a start and a finish. I'll show you the numbers at the start and show you the numbers at the finish. And I actually, when I basically got over myself and just went, you know what, just hit it as hard as you can like you normally would do, I wasn't that far off clubhead speed in terms of ball speed. Distance was good, spin numbers were good, you'll see in a minute. I actually hit all 5 of these really well. I had no swing thoughts in mind. All I was thinking was just hit the middle. And I think there's something to be said for that, in terms of you can get bogged down quite heavily. And here are the swings, in like thinking about your swing, where your club should be, all this kind of stuff. Whereas these swings I just hit probably as naturally as I possibly could, committed to them, and I hit really well. 5 just great shots dispersion on them.
That is arguably one of the hardest things I've ever done when it comes to golf. I am spent. However, that being said, I can't believe I finally gave myself a kick up the backside. I actually hit some decent shots. Let me show you the numbers. Let me show you the shots. First of all, that dispersion, I haven't hit that straight ever, so God knows. I think it's just the fact of loss of giving an F. Similar to what I had at the start when I finally just geared up and just took and swallowed the pain and just hit the ball. Ball speed pretty much the same, spin rate pretty much bang on. That ball's been hit 500 odd times now. Loss of pretty much nothing. They're pretty much numbers that I'd be all over all day. Oh yeah. Again, in terms of the ball, pretty much, I mean, you can see it's been worn, you can see it's been hit. It's definitely not brand new anymore, but saw on the numbers, realistically, you're not losing anything when it comes down to hitting it. And to be perfectly honest, hitting trees, roads, out the bunkers, everything else, that's going to damage your ball more than anything else. So pretty durable, good ball, as I imagine any other top class ball from any other manufacturer would be. Right guys, there you have it. Thank you ever so much for watching. Leave this video a like. As I said, if you want to see a 1,000 ball challenge, which is probably going to take me 6 to 7 hours, and I could do that, there are the numbers. That's what I did. Don't even know what I'm talking about at this point. I'm gone. I need to go to bed. See you guys later.